Okay guys, so we're back with Out and About with Prospector Gary. We took a few weeks off. I hope you guys didn't mind. While my metal detector is completely waterproof, I can actually throw it in a river up to 10 feet deep. Our camera is not, and as you can see today, it's been raining and it's yucky. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go over what I've been doing and not filming with you, give you a better understanding of what we find, some techniques on how to get permission, and maybe just some things that'll help you get better at metal detecting and not get discouraged. We do find junk from time to time. It's gonna happen, but we find really good stuff from time to time too, and that's what keeps us going. It doesn't really matter what kind of metal detector you own. I'm not gonna plug any particular brand. All of these things nowadays are built rugged, they're built tough, they're built for the outdoors, they're all weatherproof, so a little bit of misty rain isn't going to kill your detector. I encourage people actually in my business to buy used detectors. They're just built rugged, and so you're pretty safe with anything. If you want to actually get into something where you're going to find better stuff, that you can do later. But any metal detector is the metal detector I want you to own. I want you to go out, have fun, enjoy finding the stuff that I find and my friends find, and hopefully I can help you get better at it. We'll just see. But what I'm going to do today is, it's really cruddy outside. We have a little bit of a break here, but I'm going to go inside my shop now, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we found this year. Granted, I haven't gotten to hunt a very great deal. What you're going to see today is a representation of about the last 2 months of good solid detecting. About half hour to an hour a day is all. So I want you to understand that these things can pay off your detector. You can find some good finds, and you can have a whole ton of fun doing it. So we're going to go in the shop now. I'm going to put my detector back on the wall. I'm going to show you what I find. So my detector's back on the wall. I have several. I have low-end to high-end detectors. One of the things I want to make perfectly clear about metal detecting is that you're doing a really good thing a lot of the time. A couple weeks back, let me see if I can find it, I had the opportunity to go to the beach with my friend Tom for the beach cleanup day, which the Solve Beach Cleanup Day. This is a chance to go clean up things that people can't see. So while people are out there whizzing around the beach picking up the stuff they can see, there's a lot of stuff they can't see that's still trash. And all of this stuff breaks down. I'm sure you've seen all the videos of stuff that gets into the water and fish. And this is what it does. It sunbakes, it breaks apart, the salt water just kills it, and next thing you know, it's a minute particle floating around, the fish are eating it. So we were able to get some big cans, some mayonnaise containers, glass, that's never good to step on, and it's metal. Little Grey Goose vodka there. Lots of bottle caps. At the beach you're gonna find a lot of junk. And I don't have it here today, but I found a beautiful silver and amethyst ring that day. Kind of a reward for going out and cleaning up the beach. So somebody had a good time at the beach, made their sandwich down there, drank a couple, and all this gets left behind. A great big piece of melted glass. So we were able to pick that up. I actually just found that in a fire. It's melted glass and metal. You wouldn't want to step on any of this. A little piece of a camera, we believe, something that screwed something down to a camera. Some more sharp aluminum. When it melts in a fire, it'll cut you. All the bottle caps, just garbage. All this stuff breaks down, gets into our ocean, corrodes our beach. Wouldn't want to step on that. Smucker's jelly, and that was the trash from our Solve Beach Cleanup Day. Now, not everything there is what we found, because we found a lot of money, and we put that on the table. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of quickly go through the finds to show you what we find. I'm not gonna kid you, like I said, we find a lot of trash. So we're gonna start with the trash. When you go detecting, expect to find lots and lots of iron. This is by and far not all the iron I've found this year. Once I've identified a piece, I typically will throw this in the recycle because it can be recycled. It is metal weight, it can be melted down and used again. But you will get used to finding just large chunks of iron and lots of screws, lots of nails. This one was kind of cool because it's like a really old cotter pin. What always amazes me is that I remember all the things I find. So I remember where I found them, and you will too. This little piece, for instance, right here is just a weird little piece of metal, but it looks like an axe head. And I found that at my old house in the front yard. And I remember that. As we go through doing a lot of doing these parking strips, and by parking strips I mean between the sidewalk and the curb, here in Salem, you're allowed to do that. You want to ask permission even though you're allowed to, because even though it's allowed, the city lets you do it, the homeowner has to mow it. We'll go over that, how to ask permission, in just a minute. But some of the typical things that we find. So we find a lot of cable TV parts all the time. All cable TV parts. Fun, it's metal weight, you can save them up, you don't have to throw them away, you can take that to the scrap yard. It's neat, you found it. We find wire, we find things we can't even identify. One of the things that'll trip us up is because a lot of coins are minted with different money, is we'll find a lot of bottle caps. This is an old Schlitz can, and this is actually a 7-Up can I found right over there in a parking strip. It has a contest on it, and in the inside it gives you points and you can win gift tickets. So that is probably a long gone promotion, but still really, really fun. But I remember right where I found it. I found it in front of my neighbor's house in the front yard. A hair clip. Bizarre. This is an old window opening and closing to an old RV. It's pop aluminum. And you'll just find bizarre stuff, but it's all really, really neat. So we have a couple years back, actually, this isn't part of this year's finds, but my son Kingston is really into trains, and what we did was we went down to the train tracks with his little toy metal detector. And like I say, any metal detector is a good metal detector. I'm not going to tell you not to go have fun. Simple as that. This was actually one I bought at a yard sale for $2 or $5, I don't remember. He wanted to go train spotting, I wanted to go metal detecting. He turned on his detector and we found 3 smashed coins. So, you know, how cool is that? He had fun doing it. He always beats me metal detecting. Pencils and erasers. Sound like a nickel on your detector and you'll find lots of them for whatever reason. Never throw anything away until you identify it. I am a part of a lot of groups and forums, and sometimes the obscure is a really important piece. This piece in particular, I have no idea what it is. I'm not going to throw it away, but I watched a video one time where a guy found something just like this that didn't seem like anything significant and was part of a Civil War flintlock rifle and was actually very, very valuable. Out west here, I don't think this is part of a Civil War flintlock, but I haven't actually found out what it is, so I'm going to keep it. Some of the other things you can do with your finds, and one of the finds you're going to find a lot of, is pull tabs, ring pulls and pull tabs. There's a couple things you can do with these, and there's a couple reasons why you should feel good about finding them. One of the reasons I like is because modern metal detectors believe that this is a gold ring. I have a 10-karat gold ring on, and it rings up almost the same as this. So when you dig a pull tab, you should never discriminate this out, because what you've done is you haven't missed a ring. So if you discriminate pull tabs, then you're fine with losing rings. If you want to find gold rings, leave this within your discrimination. Another thing you can do with these, and you'll find a lot of them, but my friend actually told me the other day they still allow you to donate these to dialysis. So every one of these you find is like 5 minutes or 10 minutes worth of dialysis on a machine for a kidney patient. So these actually do have value. Far and away their scrap value. You can actually donate these, and people donate money to people with kidney disease that need dialysis. So actually one of your more important finds for trash. There's not a lot of trash. Nobody's going to give you 5 minutes on a dialysis for a mayonnaise container, whereas these actually go to help people live longer. So lots of fun stuff. Now on Beach Solve Day, Tom and I did find this pair of sunglasses. Super cool. I'm gonna put them on just for the show, because how fun is that? Yes, I look like a crazy person, but it's the stuff you find, you just enjoy it all. You know, and somebody went down to the beach wearing those. I came back wearing them, but I ain't go actually down there wearing them, so I guess I'm okay there. But let's get on to some of the good stuff we find. In the last 2 months that I haven't been doing it, I'm going to go over my next table here in a minute. And this is the find table. This is the silver, this is the gold, this is the money. I really hope you enjoy the things I enjoy finding, and hopefully when I'm done with this, you can go out and find some of this stuff too and be a better detectorist and get the permission you need. Have fun doing it. Alright, so I just want to take a real quick minute before we go back to the finds table to talk about parking strips. In my town, Salem, the law allows us to hunt the parking strip, which is what is between the sidewalk and where the cars park the curb. There's grass there, it's completely wide open to hunt. One of the things I'm going to key in on this, while you can hunt it without permission, I highly recommend you don't. The homeowner is actually responsible for mowing this and keeping it up, and you'll see a lot of nice flowers in some of them. So always ask permission, even though you don't have to. In this particular case, you don't have to. Do. It's very, very simple. I have a really neat way of doing it. When I go ask for permission to hunt the parking strip, one, I don't ever have my metal detector with me. It's just too obtrusive. They don't really know what to think about it. Have nothing with you. The other thing I definitely don't have with me, if I'm going to talk to a homeowner, I'd just like to meet them, walk by their house and say, oh, that's a neat old house. The city lets us hunt this. Could I hunt your area? One thing you don't want in your hand, that big aggressive digging tool. I can almost guarantee you're going to get a no with that every time. If you're asking somebody to metal detect their yard and you have that in your hand, it's a no. I personally have never had a no. I personally never carry this with me when I ask permission. So just a little side note there. Let the bus go by. People aren't familiar with a lot of this stuff. They see us in the park, they think it's neat. When it comes to their own yard, you don't want that in your hand. I don't even like having that in my hand most of the time. So if you want to get a yes, leave this stuff at home. Talk about their house. Like I say, ask them how old their house is. These are neat old houses around here, all the 1890s to the 1930s. And so you want a yes, don't show them what you're going to dig with, and then do a good job, clean up your mess, make it right into their yard, and get to actually hunt the rest of the property. So whatever you can do to get a yes, even if it means giving them what you find or buying what you find, it doesn't matter. Just keep in mind that this is yours to hunt, it's theirs to mow, and so respect the fact that they have to upkeep it. It'll get you a long way in getting onto some good properties. Okay, so now that we went over how to ask for permission in parking strips, big knife, we're gonna put that away. You're gonna come back to the finds table here, and I told you earlier that you're gonna remember where everything you found was. So we're just gonna kind of start left to right here. We're gonna do it pretty quick actually. I showed you some of the junk we find, and I'm going to show you how lucrative this can be. So about 40 of these wheatback pennies were actually found in my mom's yard. And one of the things you're going to notice about coins that are this old, some of these are from the 1918s, 1920s, 30s, 40s. You can see most of them are pretty gone. You can kind of make out some of the wheatbacks on the back, some of the better ones, because they are copper. They're not going to erode in the ground. They're neat to me. We all love them, but that's about the best you can expect. They're fun to find. You can make out the date. That's great, but they're pretty done. Right down the street, I thought I had it made. Big gold coin. It's heavy. It's actually $100 in Mexican money before they devalued their money. So now it's actually worth 1/10 of a cent. So neat find nonetheless. Made me excited. Felt like a gold coin. All of this was found in my mom's backyard and the parking strip. This was found in a parking strip. Parking strip. I am going to show you the Union Pacific token just real quick. This was found at our old house in the neighbor's backyard. It's made out of pure aluminum. It celebrates Alcoa aluminum joining up with Union Pacific on the front of their trains in the 40s. It's worth about $50. So if you're going to sell it, there's $50 off the price of your detector. Really super neat coin, and it tells about it on the back. Right next to it, what you're going to see is in the same parking strip right out front is a 1945 Mercury dime and a 1951 Roosevelt dime. Both pure silver, both worth about $4 a piece, including silver, coin value, and face value. As we move a little farther over, you're going to notice we get a lot of junk jewelry. Junk jewelry is fun. It's super fun. A lot of it is going to be kid stuff. So we have a little meaningless earring here. This earring actually is pretty cool. It's a Red Hat Society earring. It's 18 karat gold. We have some costume jewelry, big, gaudy, super fun. Makes you think you found the mother lode, but you didn't. It's not a diamond, but it feels like it is. It's a ring. It's not valuable. It's a necklace. It's not valuable, but you don't care, because when you find it, you feel super good about yourself. Some more costume jewelry. Looks like a ring, but it wasn't. It's just a piece of a washer, so I threw it in the mix there. Sometimes though, when you're digging, you'll find things that aren't metal. So this really neat old aquarium rock I found almost looks like turquoise. That popped up in the same hole as a penny. And look how beautiful that is. It's obviously very, very old. And you are gonna find rings if you have a metal detector. They're not all valuable. This is a mood ring. I would assume is from the 30s or 40s. It's pretty far gone. It still changes color. I don't care what ring you find. When you find a ring, you just feel good about yourself. And this is gaudy. It's big. That would have taken a pretty large sized woman's hand. Parking strip find. This here is a Masonic, actually a Masonic 18 karat gold plated ring. About the same thing, found in a parking strip. Not worth a lot. A little bit of collector value there. Another Masonic gold, 14 karat gold, Masonic sword. This is the kind of stuff you're gonna find. This was in a parking strip. This is magnetic on the back. It has a magnet, I'm not sure why. But it's Phi Beta Kappa, and it's 14 karat gold. It says 14K on the back. So you're finding gold with your detector. These three pieces were actually found with a very inexpensive detector. So yes, you're gonna do better with a better detector. Those were found with an inexpensive detector. Then we move on to some of just the every single day finds. I don't know what it is. maybe they're just good digging tools, but you're going to find more spoons than you are forks and knives. I mean, kids love them. We love them. You can dig in your flower beds. I've found hundreds of spoons over the years. I've thrown a lot of them away, but more as I get into this and I get older, I'm really into keeping my finds. And so this is the stuff you're going to find with any detector. It doesn't matter. A couple pocket knives here, lots of fun. They're usually pretty corroded, but if they were dropped recently, you might find yourself a nice, really nice knife. I'm going to just kind of move left to right here. Not very valuable, old piece, very ornate, old light bulb. It's copper. So pretty, not worth anything, but super cool to have in your collection. Now this little badge, if I rub it with my hands and get some oil on there, is actually from the 30s. And what it says on here is Fire Department Boy Chief. And then it's got a 30s fire truck on there, which is real hard to see. It is missing the pin on the back. And after a little bit of research, I found out that this was a radio promotion. So this was on the radio before there was TV in the 30s, and it was genuinely given away by Folgers Coffee. It was described online, and you'll have to research some of this stuff for days. It was actually described as a premium radio promo giveaway that you would have actually got mailed to you in the mail back in the day. And I imagine would have been pretty excited to get as a little boy. That really, loved the fire department and the sirens going by, and when you're little you want to be a fireman or a policeman or something, and you could wear this badge and it was real metal, not like what we give away to our kids today. Pretty neat find. Love it all. Not worth a whole bunch, 12 bucks on Etsy. Next I'm going to move to my favorite find, and my favorite find is keys. And I guess with keys what happens is you just kind of fall in love with locks. I don't know why I like keys. They're all neat. This General Motors key and this General Motors key were actually found in the same hole. These are two different post office keys that were found in the same hole. This key right here is from the 40s or 50s, General Tire Company, and it was a promotional key that you could actually buy for probably not very much money, and then they would grind it down to fit your lock, whatever the need was to be, and so you had your own personal one. I was a tire guy back in the day, did lots of truck tires and car tires, and so kind of one of my personal favorite finds. And a key is a key. So we have a Nissan key, we have Chevy keys, we have house keys, post office keys, tire keys, we even have water keys. This will turn on and off your water. And so I don't know why I like keys, I just do. Over the years I found lots of really neat kid stuff, and actually this should go over here, but these are all very small charms. This one here, I can't quite make out whatever came on it, but we have an owl. That was Masonic gold. We have a little bell, a tiny bell that would have went on a little girl's charm. Same with this owl. A little beret. Maybe she was wearing that beret when she lost that. We have a jack. Maybe a little older child lost that. But it is the stuff you find. It's neat. You find the lost buttons. Lost suspender straps. I dug this up in the desert about 15 years ago, 3 feet down. It's silver plated brass at a Civil War camp when we were in the wars with the Indians. So we do have Civil War stuff out west. It's just that we weren't fighting each other. Very interesting, the fact that we do have Civil War stuff out here. One of the things you're invariably going to find in the weirdest places are bullets. And I find a lot of bullets in people's front yards. Spent, unspent. You wonder, why is this fired shell here? Why is this unfired shell here? A few weeks ago we were over at the Jason Lee United Methodist Church, an 1800s building that I know has been metal detected, and my friend Tom showed up. We went over there. He had the MX5, I had the MX Sport. 10 inches down in a place that's been hunted is this gorgeous late 1930s cap gun. Leslie and Henry .45 caliber cap gun. Why that was still there, the whole thing intact in an area that's been hunted, I will never know, but it was there. He's hooked now, in fairly good condition. If we oiled this up, you can actually see all this action would probably work. So if this doesn't get you excited to go out metal detecting, I don't know what's gonna. And all the bullets you found in my mom's yard. Some of these, sometimes you find these, they'll say Sears and Roebuck and stuff like that. So really neat gun memorabilia you're always gonna find. I don't have too much of it here, but I do have some really neat religious tokens, and these actually are fairly common. Over the years I've just lost stuff and got rid of it. Crosses and Bibles, crucifixes, that type of thing are always going to be found almost everywhere. Anywhere in society, we've always been fairly religious people since time began, and you will find these from time to time. We find a lot of air chucks and a lot of weird, just obscure stuff that we find actually quite a bit of. This actually happens to be a little bit of a not quite such a fitting. This actually happens to be a necklace that's used for smoking marijuana, but I found it with these two General Motors keys. Those found. I told you you'd remember what you found stuff with. I found all of that in one hole. Moving on, just fun stuff. Hybrid rose tags. We live in the Willamette Valley. Obviously we can grow anything. I found 3 hybrid rose tags. So that's a very, very common thing to find here in my mom's backyard. About 8 or 10 inches deep, an old thermostat. I cannot make out what it goes to, so unfortunately I'm just going to hope that it was old, because they've lived here for 30 years and they didn't throw it there. So we'll say at least 30 years old. 67 Camaro Super Sport convertible, probably the only one I'll ever be able to afford, missing its wheels and tires. A little Bic lighter I found yesterday in front of an old building, the Columbus Hall in Salem. And then some of the stuff you can actually make money on if you don't want to save it. Everything up here is lead, and Kingston over here actually found this, which is an original yard dart when we were metal detecting a couple years ago. So you want to hold up your yard dart? That was the yard dart Kingston found with his detector. Very cool. Lead is actually pretty valuable. Fishermen like it. Here, let me have it back. You can sell it back to them for half price. You can actually make a lot of money. Across the street, chunk of lead. Just a chunk of lead. And a fisherman will buy that from you. A tire weight, actual fishing weight, and then this one here is a calibrating scale, 5 grams of lead. So you just never know what you're going to find. Little dog collar. Now everything from down here on is either brass or copper, and brass and copper is very spendy, especially with the bullets. But it's not a bell, it looks like one, but super fun find. I thought it was a bell. I jumped up for down. Joy found it the same day I found the Masonic gold ring, because I remember I found those that day. You're gonna find lots of water spigot stuff. This is an old hose fitting. Here's the knob. Here's a brass handle from something old found in a 1920 house across the alley. Lots of just little brass and copper fittings. This stuff goes for about $2 a pound, so it adds up. If you don't want to keep it, you can make some money on it. I don't want to keep that. Eventually someday that'll go to the scrapyard and I'll make some money. This ornate beautiful thing I probably just keep. I don't know what it is, but I'm probably going to keep it. But you can actually make some extra money on the side with this. So I guess I just get excited about everything. Last but not least, modern money. The money we get to keep. This is 247 pennies. And if I can have her just show you, I tried to make a point on this last row of showing the zinc pennies and how beat up they are. They don't last very long in the ground. If they're not too badly bent, they'll go through the machine at the bank. You don't get them back. So even though I'm not going to probably turn these in, if you want to, these will go through the machine. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 cents in nickels in the last few months. $4.20 in dimes. 1, 2, 3, $4.25 in quarters. And once again, you remember where you find this stuff. So down the street we have a big old house, 1913, has the biggest black walnut tree I've ever seen, and I found this 1975 Canadian quarter in there, which I just think is super neat. So when I researched it online, what I found out was it's actually made of metal, this metallic. So that's a metallic quarter.
Can I interrupt the filming?
Sure, go ahead.
Remember that jet you found?
I do have a jet, and I don't know where it's at right now, but you're right, Kingston's right. I did find a micro machine from 1989, and it's actually collectible. He'd been wanting a jet. I found one the very next day, 1 block over in a parking strip. Most of the stuff came from a parking strip, and the jet is super cool. If I can get it on the next video, I promise I will, for Kingston's sake. But last but not least, real quick, I'd like to go over something with you, and it's what I encourage you to do. Save your finds, display your finds. This stuff is fun. You might as well keep it. You went out there, you spent the money on your batteries. This is called a Riker box. They're super inexpensive. I think I paid $8 for this one. And so I'm going to show you what you can do with one of these real super quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with my keys, because keys are my favorite thing to find. I'm going to start with these two right here. These are really, really neat. This is a real neat key drawer opener. And there's a General Tire one. And I'm just going to start with those. I want to do a centerpiece right there. I did find the General Motors keys together. They say GM on them. And I think they should be displayed together because I found them together. And even though I found that little necklace pipe, I'm not going to put it in here. This is just my key display. These both are U.S. Postal Service keys that say do not duplicate. They were found in the same hole. I'm going to do something like that with them up there. Just kind of fun. Just keep it fun. Whatever you like. This water key is pretty important. I'm going to put it somewhere where it can be prominently displayed. Maybe I'll flip it around so you can see it. And then we just have the keys. And you can do anything with this. You could throw in Tom's little lock here. I didn't find this, but you could throw a lock in there. That'd be perfectly fine. Gosh, this is another General Motors key, actually. So maybe we go over here with him. Another car key, access key. They weren't found together, but let's display a couple of these just for wherever they're going to go. A half a key, just like that half a key. So maybe we'll just twist them sideways and do something fun like that. Rusty old thing. Don't even remember what this one says. Maybe he goes in there. Pretty sure this is a Subaru key. Yep, Subaru. And just lay your stuff out and display it. Show people what you find. Get them involved in it. Get them excited about metal detecting. Have fun with it. So that you can go out, maybe you'll make a partner out of it. You can get somebody to go with you. And it's just simple as that right there. That's all my keys I have. And that makes a fantastic display. Imagine if that was hanging next to a display of locks or coins or anything else for that matter. It doesn't really matter. That is super fun, super cool, and that's what this hobby is all about. So, weather permitting, we're going to get out there, and hopefully you can see me dig this stuff up live. We've got a GoPro camera now that'll keep us hunting even in this wet weather. My metal detector's waterproof, so let me show you next time what we find when we find it, so you can see the excitement on my face. And get out there and do it. Enjoy our show.